Well, thanks everybody for attending. I know it's Monday. I know you guys are trying to get your week off to a start. You guys are an hour ahead of me, so it's noontime there. So hopefully this will be worth your while. My name's Chris Cotton with AutoFixSOS. I've been in the industry for over 27 years. I've been a multi-unit shop owner, and I have a coaching and consulting business now. A member of the IGONC for I think a year, and I was super excited to get out there. Actually, this week, right? We're supposed to be there now. I think
Wow.
we were supposed to be there now. I was super excited to come out and do a class for you guys there this week and meet everybody. And of course, everything happened and that kind of blew by the wayside. But feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll give you my contact information. And when I designed my part of this, I really just wanted it to be something that hopefully you guys could catch one or two things out of it. I didn't want to put the label new normal in it, but things are different than they were, and hopefully some of this will resonate with some of you, and we'll go from there. PJ, did you want to say anything real quick before I started?
I'll do an intro whenever I start my slides. So
Okay.
Maddie, whenever he finishes, if you would, he'll have control. And then whenever he finishes, if you'll turn it over to me, I'll share my screen, please.
Oh,
Perfect. Sorry, I was muted.
awesome. There you go. Okay. Oh, hang on just a second. So again, guys, I'm going to go through this. I want to get through this and get to your questions if you have any, so we can go from there. Again, this is in conjunction with AutoFixSOS and Tekmetric. My name's Chris Cotton, AutoFixSOS, and then PJ Leslie, Director of Business Development for Tekmetric. I'm just going to hop right in, and if Maddie, you need to stop me or anything, feel free, just hop in there. Customers now don't react to everything the way they did 6 months ago, a year ago, and for sure not what they did 20 years ago when I started in the business. Customers want to be informed. They want to know what things are going to cost, and they want to know how long it'll last. You're going to have people outside of this, but for the most part, people want to keep it simple, and we should be making sure that we're doing that with them and for them. I'm going to come back to these three questions here towards the end, but that's where I wanted to start. When a new customer calls me, or a potential customer, one of the first things I do is I go through their social media, and this is still a huge issue right now. Is I'll go through and run a report, and they may have like 10, 15, 20 different places where their information shows up, like Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, their website. And if I look at 10 of those, the information on all 10 of them is not the same and doesn't match. All these things make a big difference whenever the Google robots are out there searching you and blasting you and giving you relevancy points. Those are some of the things that they look at. So you need to make sure you keep your information up to date, and two, control your social media. This is a huge issue recently with one of the companies that I've ran into. They've kind of called us in to help fix their social media aspect of it. What's happening is you bring somebody on to help you manage it or get you a website and your social media. Next thing you know, you want to get in there a month or two later, and you can't get in. Either you've lost your password, but here what's happening is people are hijacking your passwords, changing themselves to the editors and the admins, and then kicking shop owners out. So then when you're trying to go in, where this first came in is during the very beginning of the coronavirus. We're telling people, you need to get in there, you got to post, tell people you're open, everything else. And they go in and they're like, well, I haven't been in Facebook for 6 months, and now I don't have the password, and now they won't let me in. Guys, don't ever let anybody control your social media. Don't ever give that to somebody else. You can give them editor access, but don't give them admin access. They shouldn't really need it. In some instances, I'll ask for it, but as soon as I'm done with it, I'll give it back. I don't ever want control of somebody's Facebook page where they aren't controlling who goes in and what they do. That's the same for Instagram. Anything that you do social media wise, you should be the editor on and the main, or I'm sorry, the admin on and the main person. And if you have somebody in there that you don't want in there, kick them out. It's okay to say no, and you don't even have to explain why. Reputation now is more important than it's ever been. People check Google My Business and social media before going somewhere anywhere. And now reviews from your social media carry just as much weight as a neighbor. Used to be your neighbor had carried a little bit more weight, but now people don't even go to their neighbors anymore, because a lot of times people don't know their neighbors anymore. So they go out, they look on social media. As a family, we travel the country full time, and when we're looking for RV parks, if they're not minimum 4 and above, we don't even look at the website. And then if you don't have a website, we kick it out. So, for us, we look at it quite a bit, but everybody out there is looking, and they're really, really relying on reviews. Guys, you have to reply to every review, both good and bad. Especially on Google My Business, and if it's tied into your websites, the thing you want to do is make sure that you reply. And if you can reply with the person's make and the repair that you did, make sure and do that, because whenever the special super duper Google robots are checking for relevancy and scores and boosting, those are some of the things that they're looking for. So if you do Porsche repair near me, and somebody had a review and they said 5 stars, would be great, then you get points for that. And then also when it comes in, if you're like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Shablotsnik, thank you for coming in, we really appreciated having your Porsche 911, and I hope the brake repair was up to your satisfaction, or whatever. So if somebody goes in and Google's Porsche repair near me, brake repair near me, Porsche brake repair near me, all those will boost it and pull you up. Okay. And again, when Google's assigning you points, good reviews and bad reviews, you have to reply to all of them. Now, make sure when you're replying to the bad review, don't reply to the actual person that wrote the review. You want to reply in a blanket statement towards the readers. That way they see your side of it, but you're non-confrontational. I had a customer not too long ago, or a potential customer not too long ago. He came to me and he's like, Chris, my Google reviews are terrible. I don't understand what's going on. And so I went and looked, and one of his reviews was the customer wrote a review. The owner did not reply in kind, I would say. And then I printed them out. There were 14 pages of back and forth between the owner and this guy, and it made both of them look terrible, just absolutely terrible. So whenever you sit down to write that review to the readers, write it, let it sit for 5-10 minutes, and then go back and be like, hey, if I was coming into this business, is this something that explains the situation a little bit better? Relevancy, guys. So this is the thing, is how do we stay relevant, and how do we stay in everybody's front of mind? And so, relevancy, the definition of relevancy is the quality or state of being closely connected or appropriate. Some people might argue with me and say, oh, it's great to have Instagram for repair shops. I don't really see Instagram as helping that much. Somebody would have to show me the data. I'm a data-driven guy, so I have to see it. But I will tell you that Facebook in the beginning of the pandemic really helped a lot of my shops come through. We went from posting, some were posting once a month, once every 6 months, to posting daily. And kind of the sweet spot that I found is 4 times a day, a minimum of 2 posts with pictures, and minimum 2 videos. And so the videos, they don't have to be super long. 90 seconds to a minute 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And it's just a check-in. So if you come in the morning and you're doing a video, and the video's like, hey, we're in here checking out who everybody that dropped off overnight. We got these 4 keys in here. We're going to get everybody checked in, and we'll do an update later. You may make another post, and then in the middle of the day, towards 10:30, 11 o'clock, you want to do another post and be like, hey, we got everybody checked in. We've looked at so many vehicles, and now we're starting to write estimates and contact these people back, and really moving forward. Facebook used to give more precedence to YouTube, but now that YouTube and Google are aligned, we want to make sure that we're using Facebook's video platforms, either going live and things like that, because Facebook gives more relevancy to their own videos instead of YouTube and things like that. It might be close in points. I don't know. Nobody's really told me, but we really want to get on Facebook 4 times a day. And I know that sounds like a lot, but if you sit there and go through and make a couple of pre-posts for the week, like just general information, and again, it doesn't have to be salesy, it has to be informative. Give people information. I just read this morning, but 91% of Facebook people are, or 91% of people that have Facebook are on it every day. And now times and everything are going up. Be approachable in your social media. That means just be like an everyday person. Try not to get too technical, or try not to be too technical. But again, if you say you're wanting to explain a brake issue or something like that, and you're trying to tell people, oh, the brakes are warped, we're doing run out, blah blah blah, get on there and say, hey, think of your brake rotor like a frisbee. If you how many of you out there, you take a frisbee and you spin it and it's perfect every time, it goes flat, it goes straight, it's awesome. Yeah, me neither. It never happens like that. So really what happens is, if you have an issue and the rotors are warped, that's when you throw that frisbee and it wobbles just a little bit. And now if you're painting a picture in these people's mind and you're not above the people, you want to be of the people. So make sure that you're keeping it, keep it simple, but also paint a picture. You're going to do it in a video form, but also paint a picture as well. Be community aware and know what's going on around you. These can be some of your posts every day. Tie into other restaurants. I really think this year 2020, when all the auto repair shops come out of it, they're going to be like, honestly, this is probably the best year ever. I know it was terrible at the time when we were going through it, but when we come out on the other side, everybody should look back and be like, we got the PPP, we got the EIDL. My clients have the auto shop profits and cash flow program, which has done really, really well. But I think as things open up, we're going to see a drop in business and everything else, because people are going to be like, oh, relax. And we're going out to some of these other businesses where they've been spending money with us, all summer in service of crossing the T's and dotting the I's, if you will, like they were.
Hey, Chris, you keep cutting out a little bit.
3 months ago, our fighting is hard. So we need to keep.
I think we lost Chris.
It's like he lost connection.
Yep.
If you want me to, if he joins quickly, that's fine. We'll let him continue. If not, I can talk about some of my stuff too. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, we'll give him a few seconds, and if he can get back in, then we'll let him go.
Sure.
Oh, there we go. All right.
There we go. Chris, you're on mute if you can hear me, bud. There you are.
Oh,
we
sorry
lost
about
you
that.
for a
Yeah,
minute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're having, I don't know, the front runners of Tropical Storm Beta here. So this has been kind of interesting, but sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me get back. I just switched Wi-Fi. And awesome. Okay. So guys, real quick. So whenever you're doing social media and things like that, hashtags are your friend. It's something that I just kind of discovered on my own. So you want to use your hashtag and your website address in all social media posts. Find something unique. And so you want to put your web address so that it can be easily found and clicked on in your post as well. So this auto repair Washington, D.C., I thought it would have been used a long time ago, but I got a couple of new clients in the Washington, D.C. area a week or so ago. And one of the things that I wanted to look at was, can I use a hashtag in the area? So I went in and put auto repair Washington, D.C., and it had never been used. And so I used it one time. And now look, if you use hashtag auto repair Washington, D.C., this is exactly what comes up. Also, I didn't I didn't do this, or didn't claim it, but I'm going to type in brake repair, Washington, D.C. real quick. And boom. So if you're in here and you look for a hashtag and you want to do it, it'll say, did you mean? So I could go in the area if I went else like that, use this hashtag. So that was just real quick on that. So this is kind of the continuation of what I talked about earlier. And so as we're progressing with how people want to be contacted and everything else, we have to give customers what they want and not what's easy for us. So we really want to make sure that we keep customers informed. We used to talk to our clients about 10 and 2 customer calls. Now it needs to be 10 and 2 texts. This is your car. We're going to have it ready. No, we're not going to have it ready. Keep them informed. I highly encourage everybody to have a text platform. Not that I don't want you to have a relationship with the customer, because I absolutely do. But if we can save your service advisors a couple minutes during the day and do texting, I for sure want to stay on top of that. But the short side of that is, from what I'm seeing now, we're collecting fewer emails than ever with the excuse me, advent of My Shop Manager, Autotext.me, etc. Don't stop collecting customer emails. We need to make sure that we stay on top of that, guys. And I want you guys to keep it simple. Customers want to know what things are going to cost and when it will be ready. I want you to tell them and then stop. Wait for their objections if they have any, overcome them, assume the sale, and get off the phone. We do a lot of phone call recordings and things like that. So we go in and listen to the service advisors recordings. And here lately, some of the people that don't like confrontation or whatever are taking like up to 18 minutes to sell a ticket. Hopefully that's not most of you, but again, keep it simple. We want to get through there and move through that. And also, most people want to know how long it will last, and in their mind, it should be the last time they replace that part on their vehicle. I want all of you guys to have a world-class warranty. At minimum, in my mind, your warranty has to be 3 years, 36,000 miles. I've got some clients that have lifetime parts warranty and up to 65,000 miles on the labor side of it. But to go in with that, also make sure your parts margins are good enough to support your warranty. Margins. And I didn't include it here because I didn't think we were going to have time. There's a video. If you go on YouTube and just type in "give them the pickle," it'll come up and it'll illustrate the fact. There's a famous video, but it's been copyrighted and everything now, and you can't use it publicly, typical. But give your customers the pickle. Give them what they want. Stand out. Make yourself better than the rest and better than the best. Finally, guys, the future of our business is going to be Facebook ads. It's not going to be in direct mail. AdWords will still have a piece, but Facebook ads have a lower cost versus postcards and AdWords from what I'm seeing. Typically, we have a higher average repair order versus postcards, and it's about the same as AdWords, too, a little bit higher. On average, when I did my study on this, we're spending less than $10 per customer to get them actually in the store. And our customer click rate is usually about less than $5. And I'm not talking about boosting posts, guys. We need to hire an actual Facebook ads manager, hopefully like you've had with AdWords, and let them do their job. There's so many things on the backside of it, like pixels now that can tie in your website, and then tracking that as owners we just probably don't have time to do and either can't do, and go on from there. So that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to PJ, and hopefully you guys are still there.
Yes, sir.
I think I wrote, well, no, I did okay. That losing me kind of threw me there in the middle, but I'll get off here and let you go, PJ.
Sure. So can you guys see my Blockbuster and Netflix screen now?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. So I'll briefly intro myself. My name is PJ Leslie, and I'm the Director of Business Development for Tekmetric. Short background is I've been in sales for about 20 years. I was in the automotive space for 7 years running my own shop. and now have moved over to the dark side, if you will, on the shop management software side. Two friends of mine started this company, Tekmetric, shop software, and so I helped them, I don't know, spread the word on it. But ideally, what I'm here to do today is just to talk about some of the things that we don't see a lot of shop owners hearing much about or seeing a lot of training on, and it's something I have a lot of experience in. That's sales. And so Chris touched on some of these, and I'm very glad he did, because this is there's a lot of overlap. What Chris is talking about is bringing customers into your shop. How do you manage that reputation, and how do you keep customers constantly engaged so that you are top of mind when it's time to do that repair, right? Nobody gets super excited. It's like, yay, I need new brakes. This is so exciting, right? Nobody does that. So they're not going, it's not necessarily just the fondest of memories that they're, or thoughts that they have, and definitely not a fond memory that they may have had because they had a bad experience at another shop. And so what I talk about is generally just how can we present this in the best way? How can we present this in a way that gets a customer to say yes far more often than they say no, right? I don't know how many of you know what your close ratios are, right? How many times does a customer say yes out of 100, let's say? Most of the time I hear anywhere between 35 and 50% is usually the average. And some of our top performers will see 55, 60, 65, and the highest I've ever heard is about 70%. When you actually dig into the metrics and find that they're accurate, it usually is about 50, or excuse me, about 70% is about the highest, which is fantastic. That's that you're getting 6 and 7 yeses for every job that you present to a customer, not just the whole RO, but every job, every line on the RO, which is great. So what we're going to talk about is some of those things, right? Chris is helping you get those customers into your shop. Now, what do we do with them once they're there? And what on earth could Blockbuster and Netflix possibly have to do with repair shops? So what I want to start talking about and thinking about briefly is how do we do business, right? I deal with customers every single day that are talking about things like, you know, oh, well, why should I make a change? You know, my current shop software is $70 a month. And I said, well, you contacted me. Even if it's $70 a month, you still don't feel like you're getting what it's worth, right? Or what you're paying for it. So where's your paperwork? Where are all your unsold deals, Mr. Customer? Well, they're back here in a banker's box behind the desk, right? So does your service advisor go back there, dig through those, find those every single time that the customer comes in and presents those to the customer again? Well, no, that's crazy. That takes too much time. Exactly. So what we're talking about now is the way that things used to be done and the way that things are done today. So Netflix and Blockbuster is a fantastic example. Think back 15, 20 years ago to where my wife and I used to go to Blockbuster. There was one right around the corner from my house, and we would go out there. It was a Friday night deal. We would go down there. We would rush to the store and get there right as those new releases are going to be there. Dig behind the boxes. So, you know, you had the screenshot there of the movie and the title, and hope that there was a DVD behind there, DVD or even VHS back in my day. So figuring out, was there something back there? Well, Netflix comes along, right? Now we're talking about 15 years ago where Netflix comes out and people are like, that's crazy, right? How am I going to get videos constantly being shipped to me? Because they were shipping DVDs at the time, and then they switched to the streaming service. Well, now we look at who is dominant, right? Netflix is now a verb. Hey, you want to come over? You want Netflix tonight? What is, do you want a Netflix? Yeah, I want to sit down and watch a movie on my TV that gets streamed through. So this meeting has been upgraded by the host. Oh, I just got a notification on my screen there, Maddie, sorry. So how is this upgraded? How did this upgrade happen? How did Blockbuster get left behind? There's one Blockbuster left in the country now. And so Blockbuster, the CEO of Blockbuster, brought this idea to the board, and the board said no. They wanted to start a streaming service, and the board said no because they were going to retain 12% of their revenue in late fees. Everybody knows now how much are late fees on Netflix. They don't exist. And they looked at doing business in a completely different way. They looked at an industry, changed it completely, and effectively took out one of the largest players, or if not the largest player in that entire industry, by thinking about how could it be done, not how has it been done. So that frictionless customer experience is really what just expedited the expansion of a company like Netflix. And there's lots of them. Think about Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora. There's so many companies now that have done that. And they saw that this new generation of customers that was coming down the pipeline, right? People don't really know about cars as much anymore. If you told them that, we need to do ball joints, you're probably going to get asked, what is a ball joint? They just don't care. So to this point, there's a new generation of customer. Cars are just a means to an end. It gets them from A to B. It takes them to and from work, and now a lot of us are working from home. So how do we convey to that customer that one thing that they don't really care about a whole lot does need some attention every once in a while, and we're the right place for you to bring it to, right? My shop is the right place to bring that to. And how do we convey that to them and get them to understand it when they just don't care about it, they don't understand it, they don't know about it, they just want it fixed quickly, and have that fast casual dining experience. So think about companies like Shake Shack, Chipotle, right? It's not Burger King and McDonald's. It's also not a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It's in the middle. What people are looking for is a little bit of that experience, a competitive price. We'll talk about not talking about price, right? We want to stop selling parts and labor. So what we're doing is we're creating that experience for customers, something that is replicated very easily, something that they appreciate, but it is an arm's length transaction, right? Like Chris said, 18-minute phone call, no way. I mean, they don't, even if you talk to them for 18 minutes, you're going to be talking about the football game yesterday. They're not going to be talking about that car and what's involved in that repair. It's just not an experience that we hear very many shop owners having. So how do we get that customer to say yes? How do we bump those 40 and 50% close ratios into the 60, 65, and even 70% range? How do we do so? And in my personal opinion, we've got to figure out what our product is first, right? And this is where the title of my discussion comes from: stop selling parts and labor. I talk to so many shop owners every day that talk about, well, the guy down the street is X. Doesn't matter. Does not matter, because you cannot price shop peace of mind. The guy down the street may sell parts at X gross profit, right? The guy down the street, his labor rate might be Y. And it doesn't matter, because if you are selling that peace of mind to the customer, and I don't mean selling it, providing it. If you are providing that peace of mind to the customer, price just becomes a non-issue. You don't talk about it. You can't go out there at $200 an hour when everybody around you is at $125. No, you can't do that. You got to be competitive, but back into your numbers, figure out where you want to be in order to provide a substantial living for you and your family, and all those employees who rely upon you to do so for their families as well. But don't back into it because Joe Blow down the street, it's him and his brother who are selling used tires at the corner. They're at 85 bucks an hour. It doesn't matter. You're going to provide a higher quality of product, and you're going to provide that peace of mind. Great example was I took my wife's car to the shop the other day just for basic maintenance, and I think she had like a brake light out. They called me and said the vehicle is ready. And I said, guys, I never got my DVI. What's the status of my wife's car? She doesn't go out and inspect her car constantly. It's left up to me. So I said, what's the status of my wife's car? I'm used to seeing pictures of the tires. I'm used to seeing pictures of the air filter, pictures of the fluids. I want to see all of that and know the status of her car and know that it's ready to, it's roadworthy at that point in time. They had set my expectations over and over by me seeing that DVI every time the car went in. When they didn't provide it to me, I asked for it. They had the perfect opportunity. If that air filter had matched the tires, right? If it was dark colored, then I would have said, okay, go ahead and replace it. I was doing the selling for them without them having to upsell me. And so that peace of mind is the reason that I take it to that specific shop. They are providing me with something that I don't have to worry about. Now, I put these other brands up here to think about this. That peace of mind, I go to Chick-fil-A because I know that every time I get greeted by those people, they tell me it's their pleasure, right? My pleasure, thank you. My pleasure. I'm not just buying a chicken sandwich. I can buy a chicken sandwich anywhere. If I want to buy a decent stereo system, Bose doesn't sell just speakers. Bose sells a top quality sound system, right? If I want to get a high quality stereo system, I'm going to go buy it from Bose. And Porsche doesn't sell cars. Porsche sells this driving experience, right? Something that's above and beyond. If I just wanted a car, I go buy a Hyundai, right? Or I go buy a Toyota. But if I wanted this driving experience, this exhilarating driving experience, something that's different than just a car, I might go buy a Porsche. So by managing those customers' expectations and creating that peace of mind, they know what to expect. I talked about this earlier today. You can go to, if you're out of town, right? If you were in Florida, if you're in Washington, D.C., you're in Texas, you're in Arizona, and you're just hungry and you don't know, you don't know what you want to grab, you're going to go where you know. You may not go to mom's cafe with the, windows fall, I don't know, window shutters falling off and the building looking in disrepair. You're probably not going to pop in there. It may not be the best food, but you might see a Chick-fil-A and go, I know what to expect. I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to go there, because you, in your mind, you don't want any surprises. You just want to go in and get what you expect and leave. So customers today are expecting that. They've been given that. They've been trained to get that by, like I said earlier, the Amazons, the Pandoras, the Netflix, you name it. And so now we are keeping those customers instead of just trying to go out and get them. Chris's talk is going to help you get those customers. How do we keep them, right? What's the cost of a new customer? What does it take to get them in the door? And referrals and repeat customers, we know how much those cost. It's zero. So not only are you probably going to increase your average repair order, which most of our customers do, by managing those expectations, but you're also going to retain that customer so you don't have to spend more money to go and find another one. Chris talked about this as well. This is fantastic. Communicating with customers on their terms, right? You want to pick up the phone and try and call a millennial and talk to them for 30 minutes? I'm just outside of that range. Someone tries to call me, I'm on the phone 5 to 8 hours a day. I'm not going to call them back to go over my DVI. I just want my car fixed. What does it need? How much does it cost? And I'll send back a yes or no. It's that simple. We're all used to texting, emailing, and so forth. I have people tell me all the time, well, that's good for millennials and younger. No, it's not. Grandparents, they're picking up a tablet and FaceTiming with their grandkids that are across the country, doing it with their phones. They're texting back and forth. Block out that mindset that this is for a younger generation. It is for everyone. Now, if the customer tells you no, pick up the phone and call me, do what I'm saying here. Meet the customer on their terms, communicate with them the way that they want, but utilize digital assets that are at your fingertips to be able to bolster your story, right? So if you call a customer and you tell them, hey, you need A, B, and C, well, yeah, last time I took it to a shop, they told me that and I didn't trust them. Well, hey, Mr. Customer, this is PJ. I was just calling. Did you get the digital vehicle inspection I sent you? Yeah, I did, PJ. I saw there's a lot of green, there's a lot of yellow. There's a little bit here in red. What's the red stuff? Those red items are already on their mind. Those red items have been brought to their attention because their eye gravitated to it. And now the customer is already asking you, well, what does my car need, right? You've communicated with them on their terms. You've shared that information with them to build trust and transparency and let them communicate back with you on their terms. And now they're starting the selling process for you, right? So the customer is already buying into this because of the transparency that you've created. You've shown them pictures, you've shown them videos of that wobbly wheel that they know should be nice and tight. They don't have to know what a ball joint is, but they do know that a wheel's not supposed to do this. Now they're starting to understand something that they had no idea prior. And hey, Chris Cotton, how much is that going to cost to fix that wobbly wheel? And now Chris gets the opportunity to sell that service. Now, one thing we often hear is, technicians a lot of times will say, hey, well, that takes longer. And it can take a little bit longer to do a digital inspection over a paper inspection. But what it does not take longer is how do we refer back to what we inspected last time? It takes 5 or 10 seconds to go back to a digital record to show the customer what we looked at last time, right? Or if a customer declined the work, how do we go back and see that we made that recommendation to them last time and they said, hey, my brakes are really squealing now. I wish you guys had told me about that last time I was here. Well, Mr. Customer, we did. Right here, we sent over that text message to you at 10:53 a.m. On September 19th. And we sent that over just to remind you that, hey, your brakes are probably going to need attention soon. And you declined it at 10:55 a.m. And that's okay, perfectly fine. If you'd like us to take care of it, we've got the quote built. We can still honor that price. Would you like us to do that today? Do you have that with, I don't know, paper inspections that are sitting back there in those banker's boxes behind that desk? Probably not. So purchasing, customers tend to purchase more when you're sharing this information to them on their terms, right? So the average repair order, when utilizing these digital assets, right, performing things like a digital inspection, go through your 10, 15, I usually see 15 to 25 point inspection is pretty standard. the average repair order increase from not doing that to doing that is about a 20 to 30% increase in your average repair order. So that takes me to, people always say, well, it costs a little bit more to do a DVI than it does a paper inspection. Well, yeah, take your average repair order. Let's say you only increase it by 10%. How long would it take you to pay, for a digital inspection tool, or have a system that already has it incorporated into it? Doesn't take very long depending on your car count and your average repair order, and that's only a 10% increase, which is half what the national average is. So even having all of those digital assets and having those resources at your fingertips, if you can't convey that knowledge over to the customer, it probably is not going to do you any good. There is no substitute for taking that information and being able to convey that in a phone call or a personal interaction. Now, me personally, they send it to me, I can text and approve it, and I'm fine. I trust the shop. But a lot of times you're going to use that as a supplement. This is not to replace a service advisor or a service manager. This is a supplement to say, hey, Mr. Customer, just want to go over this together with you, right? Now, I've got here that says the sales is a transfer of knowledge and enthusiasm. I say that to say this. I had a shop manager that worked for me, and I kind of joked about it. We called him Eeyore. So if you've ever seen Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie always says, hey, Eeyore, how you doing? Oh, I'm all right, Pooh. You got that ho-hum voice and wasn't a lot of excitement. You're going to get a no, right? I always told him, I said, you're not calling people to tell them they have a terminal illness, right? Hey, this is PJ. You need breaks, right? You're not an oncologist. You're calling them to tell them great news. You're calling to say, hey, just giving you a call to let you know we brought your car in for that service that you wanted, that oil change, and that's getting finished up right now. But while it was here, we do a free courtesy inspection on every single vehicle just to make sure they're roadworthy and that the status of your car before it leaves my shop. Now, that being said, we did notice that your brakes are a bit low. Most brakes are usually going to be around 10 millimeters of thickness, 8 millimeters of thickness when they're new, and you're below 2 millimeters of thickness. So you've got less than 25% of the life left in those brake pads. I've already checked with my parts suppliers. The parts are available. We could take care of that for you today and still have your car back to you by 5 o'clock. The cost of that would be $199. Would you like to take care of that today, Mr. Cotton? Well, I just let them know that their vehicle was done, let them know that their brakes were pretty thin, and let them know what date and time I could have that done, managing those expectations, right? And now the customer has no reason to say no. I mean, they could say no. No, I don't really like my car to stop safely. No problem. That's perfectly fine. We understand. Have at it. We'll decline that. And it's all being tracked and kept in your system. Now, could you do that if you were just picking up the phone, you'd never shared anything with them? How do you track that that was done? So now, taking that knowledge and that enthusiasm, utilizing those digital assets that are at your fingertips to build value in what you have provided to that customer, that's where we start increasing that likelihood that they say yes instead of no. Now, I always say that, smiling and dialing, it's an old sales quote, if you will. But I did have a manager actually do that for me once. I was picking up the phone and calling customers, and he put a mirror on my monitor. And I would encourage you guys to try this. If you are smiling, you hear my voice is higher. Like, I'm not like this, right? If I turn my, my frown down and lower my voice, less likelihood that you're going to say yes. But if I'm smiling and I'm happy, my voice is up. People respond more positively to that, right? And so putting that mirror on a monitor was one of the simplest things that I ever learned from. He said, look at yourself when you're talking to the customer. If you're smiling, they're smiling. Little simple things like this, again, increasing that chance that they say yes. No is always an opportunity to ask again, hey, Mr. Customer, I'm so sorry. I probably didn't explain that very well. Please stop me if I did. I just want to make sure that I had conveyed properly what we had found and the reason we do recommend it. Now, we don't use scare tactics. We're not trying to scare you away, Mr. Customer, but I just want to make sure you know that if, cars don't generally magically fix themselves. So it's only going to get a little bit worse. I understand if the timing's not right. Here's some other resources we have, right? We have financing, we have this, we have that. The owner allows for A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. But look for that yes. Sometimes you'll drill in. It's always people, price, or product, right? That objection is either, well, do they not like the service writer, right? Do they not like the type of brake pads that you quoted them? Well, no, I don't know what brand that was. Did they not like the price? Well, you know, it's really just not a good time for me right now. I just ran into a bunch of bills, I've just been laid off, whatever it may be. See if you can find a way to still help them. But people, price, and product, the 3 Ps, it's going to be one of those 3, more than likely, that has caused that objection. But still, you can take an opportunity to help drill into what that real objection is and see if you can find a way to help that customer. It's our job to get those cars back on the road safely so that they can take their families out, so that they can go to their jobs, etc. So lastly, not every job sells, right? Even on the highest end, you get into these 60 and 70% close ratio ranges. Well, that still means that 30 to 40% are saying no. Where's that information going? What are we doing with it? So follow up and tracking that information is crucial. Now, let me give you a scenario. You've got shop software, and the service writer has to go in and go back and forth to let's say save that declined job. The customer says, no, not right now, I can't do it today. Okay, great. So now the service writer has to back out of it, go create a new ticket, rebuild the entire estimate they had, now save that as some sort of a declined job, and save that in the system so that now the next time the customer comes in, that's going to be there. The scenario I just gave you is actually not uncommon. There's a couple of systems out there that do that. What do you think the chances are that when the service advisor has to do that, that they're actually going to follow through with it? Or if you could send that estimate to the customer, and the customer cafeteria style says yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, all the way down your estimate, sends it back to your shop management system and back in your shop. Now everything that they said yes to is there. Everything they said no is automatically saved as a declined job, and you have data to follow up on. Once a week, shop owner, shop manager could pick up the phone and see every single declined job, not declined RO, every declined job from last week, and pick up the phone and go to bullet point number 2, smile and dial. Hey, Mr. Cotton, I just wanted to reach out to you, man. I'm the owner of the shop, and I did see that you had turned down some work last week. My name is on the sign, and I just want to make sure that we've done everything we could to retain your business and explain everything properly. Was there anything we could have done differently to have earned your business? Oh, no, I was just in a hurry. I just didn't have time to take care of that last week, but I'm really glad you called me, Chris. I've got some time on Thursday. Could I bring it back in? Fantastic. You just followed up on something that was automatically tracked in your system, placed a quick phone call to the customer, and now they've conveyed, oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Thank you so much. Or they may say, back to those 3 Ps. Yeah, man, I really didn't like your service writer. That guy called me and he just sounded like he was just giving me horrible news. Well, I really hate to hear that, but I appreciate you telling me. Now you have a coaching opportunity. You can zero into that problem and now fix it so that current following customers do not experience that. So the idea here is for us to use these digital assets to make customers' lives easier, right? Sharing things like digital inspections and giving that to the customer in a nice, quick, colorful, concise way so that they can get a quick snapshot of their vehicle. Show them any pictures, show them videos of what they've got. These are actual screenshots from our system, and that's just because I don't work for any other company. I can't show you screenshots from anybody else's, but this is what it actually looks like. Share that to the customer. They see the pictures, they see the videos, and they start to understand. Send that estimate to the customer. Share that with them. Let them take a look at it and let them communicate on their terms. They're looking at it right there on their cell phone and can approve and decline. Hopefully they approve all, right? We want that 100% close ratio, but it doesn't always happen. But you're at least getting a chance to show them what they brought it in for, some other items you may recommend, and that's it. Leave it up to them. You're like an attorney, right? You're advising the customer what to do. It's entirely up to them if they want to do it. And then lastly, share those invoices, right? This is kind of a crazy time, and it's been odd how popular this became. Things like sharing invoices and text to pay obviously became wildly popular 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago now. But communicate on their terms. I had somebody call me the other day. I think it was I don't know, it was like a landscaper or something, called me 4 or 5 times to try and get payment. I was on the phone. He finally texted me a link while I'm on a call. I texted it right back and paid the invoice. Took me 60 seconds, 2 minutes to pay when he texted it to me. it took, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours before he actually decided to text it to me. So again, utilizing those resources to share that with the customer, make their lives a little bit easier, and also give yourself some benefits, right? Have that tracking, get payment quicker, and so forth. And make your own lives easier, right? If you're having to work 10, 12, 14 hours a day, you've got to be in that shop, you're spending time away from your family. What's the use in working like that if you don't get to spend some time with the people that you're actually working to provide for? So look for a way that you can actually be remote. I was telling Chris the other day when we were talking, I used to get more work done. I used to work from home on Wednesday mornings from 8 to 12, or really more like 6 to 12. But I would work from home in the mornings on Wednesdays. And it was because I could get more done in those 4 or 5 hours at the house than I could in 2 days at the shop, right? Because somebody's got this problem. Somebody needs this day off. Somebody's wondering the status of that part. I could get so much work done by being able to work remotely, run all my reports, look at metrics, look at technician efficiency, and see what was going on in an uninterrupted way. Like they knew not to call me unless the building was burning down. If it was, let me give you the location of the fire extinguishers. But at the end of the day, can you work remotely? Can you perform, right? Whenever you need to, right? Can you, if you want to look at reports later in the evening, right after the kids go to bed, can you do that? Can you do it easily? So make your own lives easier. Look for resources to where there are digital enhancements that can be provided to your business because of all the progress that's been made, to give you that freedom to be able to check in on your business anytime. So this is a lot about customers and managing their expectations, creating that frictionless customer experience, and being able to help those customers say yes and understand more often, right? But also keep in mind, make your own lives a little bit easier. Look for those digital resources to where you can access anything you need from your shop, from anywhere that you've got internet. So that is it for me, Miss Maddie and Miss Tricia. If there are any questions, I am happy to answer any of them that you want. The only chat we had was from Mike. So
yeah, I'm not seeing any questions right now, but if you have any, feel free to email me at maddie@igl.com, iglnc.com, and I will be sure to answer them and forward them on to Chris or PJ, and we will get your questions answered.
Thank you so much, Miss Maddie. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thanks so much for coming. And we have this set to record, so we will, share the recording with everyone that was actually registered to attend. So if they want to look back or get in touch with Chris or PJ, we'll have their information in that email as well.
Thank you.
I think that's about it.
You're very welcome.
All right, thanks so much, you guys. And we've got a couple more in the works, so we will let you know as soon as we have some more Zooms scheduled. And make sure that you're keeping an eye out for the Facebook page where we have our Member Deal Mondays and some other new things going on to kind of